Are you serious? Just fucking do it.
Leonardo DiCaprio isn't just a Hollywood icon. He's a force of nature. Methodical, intense, and fiercely competitive. But behind those Oscar-winning roles and red carpet smiles lies a list of actors he downright hated working with.
Wow, this sucks.
Number 6 on the list is Claire Danes.
So it was one of the worst experiences of my life, and I'll never do it again.
They played the greatest lovers in literature. But off-screen, it was more like a Cold War. In Baz Luhrmann's 1996 fever dream adaptation of Romeo plus Juliet, Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes were electric on screen. Tragic, beautiful, iconic. But what audiences didn't see was the tension that bubbled beneath every stolen glance and whispered vow. While their performances melted hearts, the atmosphere on set was anything but romantic. DiCaprio, then 21 and already Oscar-nominated, brought a chaotic, playful energy to set. To him, acting was instinctual. Wild, kinetic, almost boyish. Danes, just 16, came in with a contrasting approach. Poised, focused, emotionally restrained. It didn't take long before sparks turned to static. Danes reportedly found DiCaprio immature. DiCaprio, in turn, found Danes uptight. They barely spoke off camera. The emotional weight of their roles, combined with their clashing personalities, turned the romantic tragedy into a cold war of artistic tension. Sources claim Danes was quietly frustrated by DiCaprio's antics, especially while navigating the vulnerability required for such an intimate role at such a young age. DiCaprio, ever the golden boy of 90s Hollywood, likely saw Danes as too stiff, too methodical, too serious. And while Danes has since been diplomatic, praising Leo's brilliance, there's one undeniable fact. They never worked together again. Even when Danes was offered Titanic, she walked away, leaving the role of Rose, and one of Hollywood's most iconic pairings to Kate Winslet. A coincidence? Or a final chapter in their quiet feud?
I mean, when you read the script, you knew that it would be a game changer.
Yeah.
So you made the decision.
Yeah, I think I really wasn't ready. Really, the question was, do I want to go off into the stratosphere? I think he decided that he did. And I think I decided that I didn't.
They may have been star-crossed lovers on screen, but in real life, they were just two rising stars, burning in opposite directions. But tension with Claire was just the beginning. Because the next clash in Leo's life wasn't about teenage romance. It was about territory.
I think we both had a specific opinion about each other, certainly.
Number 5 on the list is Mark Wahlberg. Long before they shared the screen in The Departed, Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Wahlberg could barely stand the sight of each other. Their feud traces back to the early 90s, when both were young, hungry, and trying to dominate Hollywood in their own way. DiCaprio had just earned an Oscar nomination for What's Eating Gilbert Grape, earning praise as a serious actor. Wahlberg? He was still shaking off his Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch image, more known for Calvin Klein ads than character depth.
The director of the film, he had made all my music videos, so he felt like I was more than capable of playing the part, but nobody had seen me act in a film.
So when Wahlberg's name came up as a contender for the Basketball Diaries, DiCaprio was furious. Wahlberg had humiliated him during an MTV charity basketball game, blocking his shots, clowning him on the court, and then performing at halftime in his underwear. Leo saw him as a clown, not a co-star. Producers still pushed for Wahlberg. And that's when DiCaprio, full of conviction and disgust, reportedly said, "Over my dead F-King body. Marky Mark's not going to be in this F-King movie." To Leo, this wasn't just about casting. It was about protecting a deeply personal role, one that demanded emotional range, not ego or street swagger.
So I had to really kind of just go out there and prove myself.
Wahlberg, on the other hand, didn't think Leo fit either. He wasn't a New York street guy, he scoffed. Both had chips on their shoulders. Both thought the other was wrong for the part. and neither was willing to back down. But something unexpected happened on set. Forced into the same scenes, they found a strange respect. Wahlberg admitted, "This guy is good." Years later, Leo would even help Wahlberg land Fear, the film that made him a star. Still, the fire that sparked their rivalry, it left a scar and one unforgettable quote. But if Wahlberg left a bruise, this one co-star left a mark. Number 4 on the list is Joel Edgerton.
The worst thing is injuring somebody.
Behind the velvet curtains of The Great Gatsby was a storm brewing. One that pitted Leonardo DiCaprio against an unlikely rival, Joel Edgerton. From day one, there was tension. DiCaprio wasn't thrilled about sharing the screen with a rising Australian actor known for his intensity, but not yet household fame. Edgerton, on the other hand, came in with something to prove, and wasn't about to dim his light for anyone, even Leo. The tension wasn't explosive. It was slow burning, the kind that simmers under the surface. Eye contact held too long, line readings that edged on one-upmanship. Baz Luhrmann, known for his operatic direction, let it fester, and it worked. On screen, the friction between Gatsby and Tom Buchanan felt electric. But off-screen, Edgerton later admitted there was an unhealthy friction between them. Not rivalry, not fun, friction. DiCaprio, too, confessed that Tom's aggressive energy came out of him on set, almost like he couldn't control it.
Oh man, you know, if I never have to train that hard in my life ever again, I'll be okay with it.
Sources from the crew noted that takes sometimes went cold. That rehearsals were short, sharp, and distant. It wasn't chaos, but it wasn't camaraderie either. And after the camera stopped rolling, there were no buddy photos, no joint interviews, no rumors of future collaborations, just silence. But Leo's next clash wouldn't be with a rising star. It would be with a legend. Number 3 on the list is Robert De Niro. When two cinematic titans collide, it's bound to spark controversy. And that's exactly what happened on the set of Killers of the Flower Moon. Leonardo DiCaprio, Hollywood's golden boy, squared off against Robert De Niro, Scorsese's long-standing muse. And according to insiders, Leo left that set feeling winded and wounded. DiCaprio, known for digging deep into character, came armed with endless improvisation. But Scorsese and De Niro? Not so much. The director confessed they'd frequently roll their eyes. De Niro himself, traditionally economical with words, found Leo's non-stop ad-libs suffocating. Scorsese recalled it plainly. "Every now and then, Bob and I would look at each other and roll our eyes a little bit. You don't need that dialogue."
Time.
What are your thoughts when that's happening?
It sucks.
When you
It wasn't just a clash of styles. It was Diablo versus tradition, volume versus silence. De Niro's refusal to even acknowledge Leo's improvisations was mute, but powerful. And Leo noticed. Sources reported that post-premiere, DiCaprio was furious, feeling dissed by Scorsese and De Niro. So furious, he allegedly vowed never to work with them again. But the tension wasn't solely verbal. During filming, De Niro physically disciplined DiCaprio in a shocking paddling scene, lashings that were not faked. One crew member even confirmed, you could tell De Niro was really hitting him.
I mean, this film took really everything out of me.
how did you survive that?
I don't know.
To some, it was ego. To others, the inevitable rupture when a perfectionist like DiCaprio meets a legend like De Niro. One thing's clear. The friction may have yielded great cinema, but this feud left scars. And Leo walked off that set feeling bruised in more ways than one. But not all wounds come from legends. Some come from sitcom sets and quiet resentment. Number 2 on the list is Jeremy Miller. Before the Oscars, before Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio was just a hungry young actor clawing his way into Hollywood, and nothing stood in his way. Not even Jeremy Miller. When Leo landed a role in the final season of Growing Pains, the show was already on its last legs. Jeremy had been there from the beginning, practically growing up on set. But DiCaprio? He was the network's secret weapon. A fresh face, a raw energy, a wild card. And Jeremy didn't take it well. Miller, who had grown up on the show, admits there was a subtle shift. It bothered me a little that the network felt necessary to bring him in, rather than focusing on my character, he said. That's polite TV speak for, we didn't need a newcomer stealing the spotlight. To DiCaprio, this was just another opportunity. But to Miller, accustomed to 6 seasons of stability, Leo's arrival felt like a direct challenge. A talented outsider slipping into the spotlight. The network's decision was the first thorn. DiCaprio's presence, the second.
That was another bummer.
DiCaprio didn't like the vibe. He didn't like the ego, the passive-aggressive jabs, or the way Miller talked about earning the spotlight. Miller may have smiled for the cameras, but behind the scenes, DiCaprio knew exactly what was going on. To Leo, Jeremy was part of the old guard. Entitled, territorial, and threatened. Leo was there to work, to break through, and to steal the scene. Literally. And he did. While Jeremy sulked about being sidelined, DiCaprio turned the network's gamble into a performance that turned heads. They played good friends on set, but Leo saw the truth. Jeremy wasn't rooting for him. He was watching his turf disappear under DiCaprio's rising star. And Leo? He never looked back. That season wrapped, and he walked straight into an Oscar nomination for What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
I feel like I should write a book now.
To DiCaprio, Growing Pains wasn't a fond memory. It was a proving ground. And Jeremy Miller? Just one of the first in a long line of actors who couldn't quite handle the DiCaprio effect. But the next rivalry didn't come from jealousy. It came from comparison. Relentless, suffocating comparison. Number 1 on the list is River Phoenix. Before Leonardo DiCaprio was the Hollywood titan we know today, he was just another pretty face trying to claw his way up the ladder. But in the mid-90s, there was one name that shadowed his every move: River Phoenix. On the surface, the comparisons made sense. Both broke out as teens. Both were effortlessly charismatic, and both were adored by fans and hounded by paparazzi. But to DiCaprio, the constant Phoenix parallels weren't flattering. They were infuriating.
Wow, this sucks.
Behind closed doors, the whispers were relentless. He's the next River Phoenix. Same talent, same tragic path. It wasn't just lazy tabloid chatter, it stung. River wasn't just a fellow actor to Leo. He was the icon of their generation, someone DiCaprio deeply admired. But admiration doesn't mean imitation. When a media outlet confronted Leo with the rumor, his response wasn't sugar-coated. If they mean that I was in trouble, that's total bullshit. That was the line, the spark. You could feel the fire in his tone. To DiCaprio, Phoenix was a cautionary tale, a brilliant star who burned too fast, consumed by fame's darker side. And Leo wanted none of it. While he respected River's work, he didn't want to be River. He wanted to outlast him, to prove he wasn't just another beautiful tragedy. I think I'm different from him. I hope I can be thought of as someone whose work will be respected. And that's exactly what he did. While the comparisons faded, Leo's resentment toward being seen as Phoenix's second coming never did. In his mind, he wasn't chasing River's ghost. He was outrunning it. And he ran like hell. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. So, which feud caught you off guard? And which one did you always see coming? For more stuff like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. Until next time.